Hello everyone, this is Gabby Franco and thank you for watching. Today I have a great episode for you. I'm going to be talking with Ryan Wilks, and we're going to be talking about gear, tools, and a lot of stuff that you should bring with you to a US-USA match. And but first of all, I just want to say thank you to a couple of companies that support me, and the first one is going to be Liberty Safe, which is the #1 manufacturer of gun safe, fire safes, and home safes. Over 2 million gun owners have found peace of mind by being an owner of Liberty Safe. Also, I want to say thank you to the NSSF, which is the Firearms Industry Association. The National Shooting Sports Foundation works to promote, protect, and preserve hunting and the shooting sports. I'm very proud to have their support, Liberty Safe and the NSSF. So make sure that you go to their websites and their Facebook page, Instagram, and everything, and give them some thumbs up. So now let me introduce you to the very man who's going to be with me, and that is Ryan Wilks. How are you, Ryan?
Hello, Gabby. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you so much for being here and joining me into this topic. I always have so you guys know, like an agenda, because there's so much to talk about, and I know you guys have so many questions. So if you have questions, just let me know. So Ryan, oh my God, gear. How many?
Gear.
I think that's a big question when you get new people at the range and you help so much new shooters. The big question is, what is the best thing to buy?
The best thing to buy. Are you looking for a specific answer? Everybody comes out and they want to know what the best thing is, and that really varies with what you're going to do with it, what shooting sport you're going to bring in, what division you're going to play in. They all have their separate rules, and we can get to that later. But I tell everybody, and I want to make this clear up front, I'm not telling you to run out and buy a bunch of stuff. If you're new to this, go out and play a few times, get a feel for the game, get an understanding of what you're going to do, and then you'll understand what you need for it.
And that's so true. And, we talk about gear, there's a lot. Normally people, when we think about the holster and my pouches, and they say, oh, that's it, that's all I need. But is that really it? And I wanted us to start with the shooter's gear, okay? And besides eye and ear protection, okay? Do you like to use the just a regular earmuff? Do you use them electronic? Do you care about that?
Electronic all the way. I've shot with earplugs, I've shot with basic earmuffs, but this is just nice. It provides you with all the protection, but it allows you to hear the world around you just like you weren't wearing anything at all.
So if they're talking about you.
Exactly. You can turn these around backwards and face the microphones backwards and hear everybody behind you.
Well, that's definitely, that's good. And also the eye protection. I want people to also pay attention that eye protection is not just any eye protection. You have to make sure the eye protection is ideal for shooting, especially for ricochet.
Because exactly. You're looking for a couple things with eye protection. First and foremost, you want that safety. You want protection. Buying a pair of $5 gas station sunglasses is not going to cut it when your eyesight's on the line. Absolutely. Yes.
And another thing, I don't know if you care about, using sunglasses or not, but normally, personally, for the most part, I use clear. I think that clear, to me, and obviously I don't have blue eyes, but I think that clear, it actually allows me to see everything the way it is. I don't miss anything. Do you have any preference on when it comes to the color of the glasses?
I've tried several colors, and I've generally stuck with one of two things: either clear if it's dark outside, I'm doing a night match or something indoor. But generally outside in the summertime, I'm going to have a nice pair of sunglasses on, something from Rudy Project, something from Oakley. not necessarily just looking for the highest dollar thing,
Whatever
but I want
fits
something
what fits good
exactly.
and looks
It's got to
good.
look good. If you don't look good, why are you doing it?
Right. Another thing I would like to highlight on shooters, I mean, what we wear is shoes, guys and girls. Make sure you have shoes with good traction. I have actually posted a few videos, and I think I've shared with you all a time where I was like, oh my God, I forgot my shoes. And it's amazing how, can be slippery. Most of these ranges is gravel. So you want to make sure that you are, you are stable.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of fundamentals. One of those being your stance. You can't have a stable stance if you don't have good traction, good grip on the ground, and you need the right shoes for the right surface shoe on. I don't use one pair of shoes for any type of shooting. I use specific shoes. If you're outdoors, absolutely. What your Solomon's you're showing people, my Adidas, they have nice big treads to grab the ground in there. But if
I
I'm
was
in an
gonna
indoor
ask
match,
you. I was gonna ask you about that. About which brand you use. Like these ones right here, which are dirty. I used them on Sunday, but these are Solomon. But I do remember back when I started shooting, I used the Nike shoes. They were using like the baseball shoes. I don't know, like 2007, 2008. That's what people were using. And so whatever you can use, that will be fine. But I also want to point out the hiking shoes are good, but make sure that they are lightweight.
Exactly, and that's where you want to get into more of a trail running shoe. They're made for lightweight. They're made to be on your feet, where you're not having to lift a heavy weight every time you step, and they've got that traction. I myself started my very first shooting shoes were Nike football cleats I bought from Ross. I saw they just happened to have in my size for $20, and they lasted me years. After that, I went to the Solomons. I've been through several pairs, and I'll tell you what, you can't go to a major match without looking down at the ground and seeing the imprint of Solomon shoes everywhere. It's definitely one of the leaders in the shooting community. Look
Very
back
cool.
there. Go ahead. Their soles are very soft rubber. They conform to whatever. So they give you traction on dirt. They give you traction on slick surfaces even.
And I also like when they're breathable, especially when it's rainy and muddy, because I had some shoes that these, when you're new and you're trying to get the best. So I bought these shoes were waterproof. And at once they were, they seemed great. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Everybody had their feet wet but me, until they got wet and the water was not coming out.
It won't go out.
Yes,
Water doesn't
exactly.
go in, water doesn't come out. Yep.
So that's something to pay attention to, especially, in the summer, depending on where you're going to be, where you're at. If it's Florida, you really want to have some breathable shoes. And another thing, people here, everybody would look at me like, why are you wearing that? I normally, every single match you will see me, I have long sleeves. And I learned that in Florida, in South Florida, I guess from fishermen, they go and fish and they all wear long sleeves. And, we spend so much time out there in the sun. So I always thought, protect your skin cancer. You may think I'm exaggerating, but no, always protect your skin. And there are very good long sleeve shirts for the summer. Those are the ones I use. So they're loose and they're very nice.
True. But if you've got a jersey, you've got a specific shirt you want to wear, and you don't want to be extra hot, a lot of companies out there are just making just sleeves alone. You can add them in any shirt and get that same protection.
Yeah, that's true. Well, there are other options, which are just the sleeve itself. I don't know if you have seen them. Those are very nice options too. So let's go to the actual gear. Belts.
Okay.
I have seen people going to the matches just with a standard leather belt. There are definitely different brands, but what we normally use, and I don't know which brand to use, but what we normally use is something that has a Velcro and the inner belt and the outer belt. And I think that the benefits of it, I don't know if, but one of the many benefits of it is that you can have one inner belt, right? And I don't even know if they sell the outer belt separately, but you can have different configurations for your gun for so many different divisions that you can shoot.
I also go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You go right ahead. What were we gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say also this. Get some. This is my husband's belt, and he has this little thing that helps him to keep the belt together. Sometimes when you gain weight, you know, that happens.
Yeah, I've got the same basic setup as you do. I've got the inner and outer belt. But you know, before we get into that, with newer shooters, you know, if you're coming out your first time, like I said, don't run out and buy a bunch of expensive stuff. Go figure out what you need and go make an educated decision. But when you come out there, you know, it's there's a difference in leather belts. A nice, strong, sturdy leather belt is good. Something that's strong will hold together. You don't want to come out there in a Sunday dress belt that's screwed together that can pop apart and you end up dropping a loaded gun.
Yeah.
You know, even with, you know, they make some stiffer, nicer leather belts. But then you
even the tactical belts. There's some sturdy tactical belts. Yes, exactly.
Just like this one right here. Yeah, this is my everyday carry belt. This is not too expensive. This one I think is from SOE Gear. I've had this for years. I've worn out that Velcro on it. I've worn it so much. But it gives you a little more sturdiness where your holster comes on. So when you draw, it's not flopping around. You know, it stays where it needs to go.
Yes, and obviously, when you, for instance, the benefit also to have the holsters, I mean the outer belt, is that if you need to get out of the range, if you need to go to the restroom, you don't need to take your whole equipment. But you're right. Before you know that this is your sport, this is what you want to do, give the sport a chance so you try it. Now, holsters. There are. I showed Ryan before we started my box full of holsters, and I need to get rid of some of them. And there are so many different options, and obviously I have shot different firearms. So why don't you start and tell me which ones you have and why you like them?
When I started off shooting competitively, this is actually, I don't have the holster, but this is my old Blade Tech double mag pouch. It was actually meant for Glocks. I've tightened it down where it'll fit my CZ mags. You know, if I happen to have a wild moment and I decide to go shoot IDPA, this one's allowed. You know, my outer belt isn't allowed in that sport. So you see me strap this on my everyday carry belt. And this is a good starter option. This, and they sell a basic, I think I was looking on Blade Tech's website today. They've got this and a holster, just a basic ABS injection molded holster for right around like $65, $70. You know, you're not spending, you know, a ton of money on it, but it gets you what you need to get through. From there, I started upgrading. I went to, you know, Blade Tech's actual nicer line of holsters. This, instead of being ABS, is actual Kydex. It's quite a lot thicker. It's a lot more sturdier.
Now that you
last years.
Now that you pulled it out, let me go pull this one out.
There you go.
Because what Ryan was showing right there, can you put the holster out there so people can see it? It's a different type of where the belt, you know, the belt goes right there. This is a offset accessory that allows you to keep the gun lower. And I remember one of my first holster was exactly the one that you have right there. And for us women, one of the things that makes is that with our hips, it tilts the gun inward. So it's actually uncomfortable to get to the firearm. With this offset, it makes my handgun go slightly out and allows me to draw. But obviously even for men, it's very beneficial.
Yeah. No, it's still nice to have a holster in a different position to get it away from your body a little bit, allowing your thumb some room to get down there and have a nice full grip on the gun very easily. But also keep in mind, while it's allowed in a lot of divisions, maybe all of them in USPSA, if you're going to go shoot IDPA or something different, they're only going to allow women to do that.
Oh, okay. I don't shoot IDPA. So you can only shoot that kind of holsters if you're shooting IDPA.
As a man, I cannot have a dropped and offset holster.
Oh, Oh, but women can? We can? I can?
Women can. Women can.
Yes.
And I don't know if this is in the writing or not, but they said because see, that's where I thought you were going, because you said about my wide hips, and that's what they say, because women have wider hips, they're allowed to use
Yes.
it, but men. Which I think is sexist, because what if I put on a few pounds? I might have some wide hips.
But now, what else do you have there? I want to see if I can compare with anything I have with me right now.
Well, I'll tell you what you were talking about. You're dropped an offset. I've got this is what Blade Tech calls their Stingray. It's just a basic belt loop here. It's adjustable. This little piece right here goes up and down to fit tighter on your belt and the actual width you're using. Me personally, on my actual rig I'm using now, I use their Tech Lock system. See if I can get this over here. You can see it. There we go. So this, if you notice, locks that on there. I can pick my position on my belt and actually lock it on where the other one might slide around. So this is nice. You want things consistent. And that's another great thing about this belt is if you do choose to buy, a two-piece belt and you're learning, you need to get your repetitions in. And they need to be very, very consistent. And that means your position of your equipment needs to be very, very consistent. Can you imagine being 15, 16 years old, trying to learn to drive a car, and every time you got in, all the controls are in a different spot?
Definitely.
It would take you forever to learn, right? So it's nice to have everything in the exact same spot. I can slap it on. I've seen some guys actually put a mark down the center line that'll line up with their zipper or their belt buckle, whatever that normally be there. That way they can position this belt on.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that really, I have the same style, the same system for my Mac pouches. You can see them right there. And for my Mac pouches, I really like to have them individual like this. And these are just standard Blade Tech Mac pouches. And what I really like, different, like the first ones that you pulled out, is that the ones that you had, that you showed, the double, they are straight. So by having this type of Mac pouches, right, what it allows me to have the angle, and I just stand it up so you can see how I move. So I have the angle to do a quick Mac change and get an access to my Mac change as fast as I can. What kind of Mac patches do you use?
I have got CR Speeds. And, at the time I bought these years ago, these were the hotness. This is what everybody had. So,
yes.
I didn't know what I was doing. So I just looked at what everybody had and I said, well, if everybody's got it, it must be good. And they've lasted me years. I love it. And you've got some adjustment here. I haven't loosened mine. So you can actually cant them forward and back. Now I shoot production, so I generally have everything, within my rule specifications. So it has to be on this side of my body. I can't have crazy angles to it. But what I like about this is I've got adjustment of my tightness or my retention on my actual mag pouch, which is nice to have. Sometimes if you've got a stage where you're running really far or really hard, you might want to tighten up a little bit so they don't fall out. Whereas if I'm shooting go ahead.
And I have a story about that. The first time I got these Mac pouches, they are very small, so they don't really have, I want to say they don't have a good retention, because they do. But the first time I was like, okay, I don't want my Mac magazines to be too tight. I want to grab them fast enough and easy enough. Sure enough, I just tightened them enough that I thought it was good. So I'm doing this stage. I had to run from point A to point B. And I watched the video afterwards. All my magazines were flying all over the place. And everybody was like, oh my God, what is she going to do? And I was like, got to the next position to do my mag change. I was just looking and looking. I couldn't find anything. So also make sure that when you are tightening up your magazines, your mag pouches, make sure that it is enough that you can pick them up, and you can jump, you can run, and they're not going to fall out.
Exactly. If they're not going to handle what you're about to put them through, readjust them.
Definitely. So when it comes to Mac pouches, do you have any other preference? Like this one, this is what my husband uses. He uses the double alpha. And the benefit different than mine, I think yours are the same, is that with the inserts, he can use the same Mac pouches for different type of magazines. Mine,
Yes.
they don't fit at all.
You've got a Kydex that's specifically formed to your size magazine.
Yeah.
CR Speed also has multiple inserts. It's very hard to see. I'm trying to get on video here, but you can see a big block in here that takes up the space, and make this fit a CZ. So yeah, I can use this with just about anything out there, up to a single stack even.
And the last accessory I want to show is the magnet. Mm-hmm. Some people ask me, hey, is it useful? It is. I don't think in production you can use it, right?
I believe, don't quote me on this, I can have one on my belt, but I can't use it during the stage.
Oh, okay.
I may be incorrect, but I don't have a magnet, so.
Okay. I use it especially when you have like old magazines on barrels, on top of barrels or tables or whatever. It is very useful just to put one in there and do a mag change and everything. I just want to mention also, what you were going to say something.
Oh yeah, I was just going to agree with you. Yeah, it's instead of looking for your mag pouch and trying to fit it in there and be in a very specific, precise movement, just slap it, and let go, and it sticks right in there. You'd be amazed if you've never used a magnet how strong they really are and how they can hold a full, heavy magazine without any problems.
Do you practice putting your magazines in dry fire fast to do? I haven't done that practice, but I think that's definitely can be it's not like all the time we got that kind of stages where your magazines are going to be on barrels, but it's one of those stages that can cost you a lot.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If you have those skills that you don't necessarily use a lot, but you've got the equipment to help you out and you've practiced it, yeah, it's going to definitely give you an advantage, because there could be a ton of time wasted putting magazines in pouches. Do I practice it? No.
Alrighty. I wanted to mention right quick on the brands we have. I just want to mention a few, and I think Ryan, I kind of lost you. Oh, there you are. Okay, brands. So the brands for holsters and mag pouches you can look at will be Blaytech, Comtac, CR Speed, Safariland, Ghost, Double Alpha, Limcat, and Gugaribas. The last two are very, high-end holsters, especially if you're shooting open or something like that. This is mine. I don't think they make it anymore. But one of the things I really like about my holster is that these are magnets right here. So it really helps to keep my gun in position even when it's not locked. So that's one of the things I really like about that holster. Anything else you want to add when it comes to gear?
Gear, well, one thing we missed is we didn't talk about hats. Hats are very, very useful. In the summertime, you want to keep the sun in your eyes. Shooting is a visual sport. If you can't see, you can't shoot,
Definitely.
Another quick story is one of the monthly matches I shoot down in Denton, Texas. The pistol ranges are actually in the shot fall area of the shotgun ranges. So every few minutes, you get rained down on with lead. So they require you to wear a hat with a forward-facing brim. If you're not getting pelted by shot, then it's also nice to have a little extra protection of your head, because your glasses don't necessarily cover 100%. They have a little gap. So putting that brim over here keeps things from falling down inside your glasses. Just gives you an extra level of protection.
Yes, definitely. And here Greg is saying a magnet on a belt will put you into open class if you use it.
If you use it, yep.
But what would you have it then? But what would you put on a magnet if you cannot use it?
That's a good question. That's why I don't have a magnet.
Right. Okay. So another thing we were going to cover was the tools.
Tools.
One thing that I think have saved a lot of people, this thing right here.
What now? Tell me what that is.
That's a rod that you can use for squib. If you reload, you know exactly what we're talking about. Squib is, a bullet that got lodged some part anywhere in the barrel. And man, that can be sometimes scary. And if you're lucky, another round won't fit. Well, but normally what I tell people, I don't know what you tell the new shooters, but normally tell them, be aware of the sound and the recoil of the firearm. If it's not good, if it doesn't feel right, it may not be right.
Absolutely. You know, when a squib goes off, you can generally hear it. It sounds very, very different. If something sounds different, stop. This is just a game. Let's not risk our hands, our equipment, or possibly our life trying to get that little advantage, you know. Stop. Let's check it out. If you lose the stage, move on. Don't worry about it. It's best to be safe.
We have a question here from Sue. She says, how many magazines do you carry? Well, I should limit it. And I normally have 3 magazines on my belt, plus the one I put on my pistol. And generally speaking, I only use 2 magazines throughout the stage. But there have been times where I was like, oh no, that's enough. And sure enough, I drop a magazine or I have a malfunction. And so I need to use another magazine. How many magazines do you use for production?
So
Ryan?
I'm in production. So I've got the one in my gun, and then I've got 5 more on me. Now, I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever made it through all 6 in a match. But I like that redundancy. I like that insurance policy there. If I fumble a reload or I have a malfunction, a mag dies, I know I've got 1 or 2 extra on top of me. But then again, also in production, there's been several times where I've shot anywhere from 1 to 2 rounds because it made sense in my stage plan to do that and reload.
True.
I've had other times to where I've had to run a gun dry on one side of the stage, run to the other, and I need 11 in the gun. So on the way there, I've got to load a mag, chamber it, drop it, and load another mag just to have just enough to finish that stage. So it's nice to have that as extra there.
Yeah, that's why I like the 22 round magazines. And I just want to tell everybody who's watching right now to remember we're just talking about making this video for new shooters, people who are getting into the sport, who are trying to get involved and they don't have a guidance. We were new, all of us were new at one point, and most of us spend some money, sometimes too much, maybe not so much, but trying to get the right equipment. And we want to be a resource. So we want to help you out to do that. So if you have friends who are new and you think this information could be useful, please share this interview. I think it can help a lot of people. So another thing I want to talk about is this.
What you got there? Tools and spare parts, I'm assuming.
Spare parts.
There you go.
You know, and you know how things happen in life. You may have all this, you know, the typical parts that break, and the one that breaks in your gun, you don't have it. But it's better to be prepared. When I used to go to a major match, I would have a backup gun. You know, sometimes you don't have time to fix everything, but it depends on what I'm shooting. I don't have a double of everything. So I normally have that. And one of the things that I want to say, when I mention, where is it here? If you have front side with a fiber optic, make sure you have quite a few of the things and a lighter.
It goes out at the worst time. You've always got to have a foot or so of it on you just to make sure.
It does.
But now everybody should have their lighter because everybody's bringing their cigars to the match, right? I know I always have mine, so I've always got my lighter with me.
But you know, you'll be surprised. I have had times where I was there at a match. It was not even that it fell off, the fiber optic. It was too old. It was no bright. So I wanted to change it with something bright and nice and that looked red. And I couldn't find it took me forever to find somebody who had a lighter. So it's better to have your own.
Yep.
Do you have anything else? Yes. Do you have anything else that you normally carry with you?
Well, I'll say a couple things. Spare parts. I used to buy. Go look up your gun. Any problems you're going to have that gun, somebody before you has already had, and it's going the answers are going to be on forums. They're going to be on websites. I went out and bought all the commonly known parts that were going to fail in this gun.
Yeah.
Now, in the last, I think I've had this gun for 4 or 5 years. I've probably been, I'm estimating 60, 70,000 rounds to this gun. I've been through 3 front sights, 3 rear sights, 2 barrels,
Let me
3
ask you
slide
something.
stops.
Yes, I was gonna say that the slide stop, because I've heard that CCs and the tanfoglio is one of the part that most of the time breaks and are the CCs. So that's a very good point, that knowing your gun is very important. So you know more or less what are the parts that you should have with you all the time.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Do you get that? I'll tell you what. One other thing. On my everyday
Yes.
carry gun, I carry a 19, and I found this at a
A
shop. I
what?
love. This is a Glock 19.
Oh, Glock 19. Okay.
You know, Glocks are amazing in their design and their simplistic functionality, but you only need one tool to actually take apart a Glock, and that's a little strong pick or punch. I'm sorry, a punch. I found this one by Vickers. It sticks into the butt of the gun here, and there's your tool. It's right there.
Yes.
That's everything you need. So if I'm in a sticky situation, all I've got is me and my gun, and something goes wrong, I've got the tools to take care of it right there in the moment. So I like that. And it was cheap.
Yeah, that's
Cheap
pretty cool.
insurance
I
policy.
think the MMP has it too, right? Which other guns have that? I think that I know of the Glock and the MMP. They also have the takedown tools and tools that allows them to fix that. That's pretty cool. Mag brushes.
Mag brushes, yes, you're going to need one of these. You go to some ranges and you may not have a problem at all. You know, where we go out and crescent out there, as soon as I drop my mag, I call it crescent dust. It's all up inside that mag, and as soon as I press on the top rounds, you can hear it in there. So this one I have from Arredondo. I like this one. There's several out there. They all work fairly equally well. I've seen people use bottle brushes for babies on there too. But one thing they're all missing is this little pick at the back. And I like this because when I pick up this tool and I got to take apart my mag, that's all I need. The mag's apart. It's all in one.
Yeah. One of the things I clean my magazines for 1911s. 1911s have a tendency to be picky, probably CCs, that kind of pistols. On a Glock,
I haven't heard.
What would you think on a Glock? I used to tell, I normally, when I used to shoot with my MMP, I used to clean them anyway. And the reason I did that, and people would tell me, no, a Glock would, shoot for everything. And I'll be, yes. But if that one match, that one stage, that have a malfunction, and because I didn't take the time to clear my magazines, it's like you spend the time, you spend the money, might as well do it. But hey, that's just me.
See, you and I are complete opposites. And this was funny the other day in Crescent when your husband picked up my gun. He was racking the slide, and he looked at me. He said, "You don't clean this too often, do you?" And I started thinking about the last time I cleaned this was for a major match. My last major match was in October.
Oh my God.
It's been months. And you know what prompted me? I've got to clean this. You want to know why? Because of that match Sunday, first stage, guns started having failure feeds, and I was like, well, pull it over, took it apart, just grabbed my finger, and because my feed ramp looked like it was just irregular shaped and black, cleaned up, oiled it. So yeah, I should probably take better care of my guns. But to answer your Glock question, that's something I have a lot of experience with. The first several years I shot matches, I shot with a 17, then upgraded to a 34. And I was just as lazy, if not more, about cleaning that gun. And I just want to see how far it would go. Now, honestly, I lost count. I mean, it's thousands and thousands of rounds, but there'd be times I'd show up for a match and it wouldn't even lock up because the breech face was so caked with things. And I would take a screwdriver and chisel off chunks, rack the gun, go out there and shoot it, and the Glock worked fine. So that's why I carry Glocks in my life, because I know what I can put it through and it still works.
And that's true. And like I say, it all comes down to what you like and how you do things. There are people who are OCD. I'm not an OCD person, but I guess that comes from my Olympic shooting background. That my coach was like, when you go to a competition, you make sure everything there shouldn't be anything that you did that couldn't cause a malfunction. But yeah, I mean, nowadays with so many like Glocks, the MFPs, those guns would work very well.
Just run.
Like we have another question for Velasco. He says, how often do you clean your gun? How many rounds? Personally, different than Ryan. Personally, my husband cleans because I'm not gonna say I do all the time, but most of the time he's the one who cleans the guns, and every after each match, and I'm not talking about, and I'm not really talking about a full breakdown of the gun. No, it's just the ramp, making sure the slide goes back and forth and it's lobed, and that's it. That's pretty much all.
Maybe run a brush to the barrel, or yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, does your husband know anything about CZs? Because I'd be happy to drop this off for a good cleaning.
I'm sure he would. He enjoys it. Anything else that you want to add to the equipment? Well, we have so many things. I have it like a hammer is very good. Mag loader, if you don't feel that you can load your magazines. I load my magazine without a magazine loader. I just go 22 rounds, fine. Oil, that's one thing that we do before we start. We kind of put some drop of oil, making sure that, especially 1911s, those guns, they need to be lubed so they run. I've learned my lesson. I was in Georgia, and man, that at first I think it was, I don't know what range was it. I think it was very windy and sandy. And I had really a lot of issues with my 1911, and I just kept lubing it, putting a lot of lube. So make sure that you have that with you.
Every single time I go to a windy, dusty major match, you look around all the 2011s, and everybody's got their shower caps, so they're covered. Right? Don't let that get in my gun. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Now, I put some other stuff that for the new shooters that may be useful. You don't use it. You sometimes use my wagon to go from stage to stage. An umbrella. Your range bag.
Range bag. You can see how big this range bag. This one I got from Midway years ago.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to see you over this bag because it's so big. I used to carry this to every match, and it housed everything I could possibly need: backup guns, all my tools, everything. But it's so heavy. And as the years went by, I realized 99% of the time I could just leave that in my car. So now this is the bag. Oh, let's see. I got trash already hanging out of it.
So you go back and forth to your car?
No. I use your cart and everybody else's tools, but it's there if I need it. I don't want to lug around my stuff. I'm a very minimalistic person. I'd want bare minimum.
But you know what? Whatever works. Do you like? I tried the backpacks. I haven't tried the fancy shooting backpacks. They seem nice and dandy, but sometimes the ones that I had for shooting, they were I think they're great when you are traveling. Like, let's say you're going to another stage, you are flying, you're not driving, and obviously, having everything as a backpack, I think is useful. That's something I used. I tried to use one of those range bags, and oh my God, I was almost about to break my back trying to carry everything, ammunition. You have to carry all that stuff with you. Have you used those backpacks or no?
I've never really gotten to the backpack because it's just something else I got to put on. It's an extra step. I'd rather just pick it up, walk to where I'm going, because it's USPSA, It's not 3-gun. We're not traveling to the other state to do the next stage, We're just walking 30, 40 feet over here. So I like it quick and easy, but that's just my style.
And basically, places where you can buy. The only thing that I have, obviously, you can go directly to the manufacturers. Like, for instance, you can buy your holsters and mag pouches directly at Blade Tech. I know Comtac, Safariland. I don't know if Safariland sells right there on their website. But I know Double Alpha, they have I think like a sister company here in the United States that you can buy holster here. But also you have Midway USA, Brownells.com. Can you think about any other place where everybody who's watching?
Well, I'll say this, a couple things real quick. It's nice to go direct to a manufacturer, but I've had not issues, but it's a little different. Like when I bought a holster direct from Blade Tech, it took a while longer. I don't know the exact time, but if I would go to Midway, who's got the exact same product from that same manufacturing stock, I get it shipped, within a couple days. But then also don't forget about your local guys. Around here we've got Jeremy
That's
Moore,
true.
owns a shooter source. We've got to support each other. So don't forget about the guys next door who can have something in stock. They're spending their money to keep it there for you for that convenience. So don't be afraid to spend a little more to help them out. Yep.
And also there are, nowadays a lot of people, and I would say even friends, because I know quite a few now that you mentioned that they make holsters. Maybe you can see if they can make one customized for you that you like it, the colors, and people like, the designs. And I have seen so many nice holsters, and exactly great. And maybe if you can buy probably the offset, the offset drop down accessory, and ask them if they can make it to fit that one. So that's definitely a good advice right there.
Very
support
true.
the local dealers and everybody that I'm sure that they want your business.
Yeah. Nobody's going to turn away your money. It's also really, really nice having somebody local. This is my everyday carry holster. They make holsters for a Glock 19. I can go out and buy these anywhere. But the reason this was made by a buddy of mine named Stuart that used to work up there at Proactive Defense where I put on my matches. But I specifically requested a very precise amount of retention, which was very little. I wanted enough where I can basically drop the gun in there, but I can have a lightning fast drop. Every other holster I tried, they're all about this hard, solid retention, and I don't want that. I don't have to rip that gun out. This has never fallen out. I jump around, I roll around. It's not a big deal. So it works for you, but this is what I want in a holster.
That's very good. I have a question here, and you would be the person to answer that because I don't shoot production, but they're asking which gun is good for production, CZ or tanfoglio. They're very similar, though.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes.
Both, I guess.
Tanfoglio is basically a CZ clone. They changed some things up, but fundamentally, it's basically the exact same gun.
And that's what I thought. And now, and I think it's important to pay attention that tanfoglios comes in different grip size. Because JD, my husband, he has a large frame tanfoglio, and I literally cannot. Not even close to that, get to the trigger. And I've heard that tanfoglio, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the grip, it's slightly smaller than the CC. That's what I've heard.
Depends on the one you're talking about because I'm trying to remember exact models off the top of my head because I'm not a tanfoglio expert. But for example, if you've seen the Shadow versus the Shadow 2, the Shadow 1, like I have here, all of your my mind's going blank, but your texture here is cut into the frame, front and back, whereas the tanfoglios are actually extended. And the Shadow 2, when they redesigned this gun, they did the exact same thing tanfoglio was doing, which just give it a little bit wider of a grip because that was a big complaint about this, that it doesn't do a whole lot for you. To answer your question, which one's better? There's so many factors. CZs are usually a little cheaper. You can find parts from the States. I don't know where you're living. Yes, I've used your cart, Jeremy. We could have a whole.
I had to put it out there.
and real quick, I have to give a shout out to Jeremy because I've been shooting production since I started shooting USPSA. But I think I'm going to try out to go for carry optics. And Jeremy owns Vulcan Machine Works, and he's going to be doing my milling of my slide. He's going to do the Cerakoting. And if go right now, not right now, wait till we're done. But go to Vulcan Machine Works and check out his gun he just refinished. He just did an awesome job doing a black silver camo paint job or Cerakote. I'm so sorry, Jeremy, Cerakote. And I think I'm going to have him do it to my whole gun too. It looks amazing. I like it a lot.
Awesome. Somebody, Sue, is asking if we can post all the company names that I stated for the holsters. Yes, I can post them. I'm going to edit the description of the video, and I have there. If you also go to my website, gabbyfranco.com, I'll make sure that I have a blog post about everything that we talked today. Anything else that you want to share? What, But can you tell me a little bit right quick? What is North Texas Lead Farmers?
North Texas Lead Farmers. When I got into,
I'm sorry, that's what you see on Ryan's name.
Mhm.
Ryan, and then it says NTXLF is North Texas Lead Farmers.
So North Texas Lead Farmers currently is the group I run. We put on matches. I do my practice day like we discussed last time.
You're
But a little
great.
bit of history. Thank you very much. A little bit of history on that. When I first got into competitive shooting, I had Facebook. I didn't use it at all. And all of a sudden, when I got in the shooting world, everybody conversed on my page, and that's where we discussed gun things. Well, a buddy of mine said, hey, Facebook's got this great feature. We could start a page. So we had 20 people, and he called it the North Texas Lead Farmers. Years later, we've upgraded. We're running matches. We've adopted it as a company name. I own Lead Farmers LLC here in Texas. And now we have something like 2,400 members on our Facebook page. It's just everybody in the local area who converges on one place. And I let anybody and everybody advertise their match. I want the NTXLF page to be somewhere you can just go to hang out, ask questions, get information. That's what it's all about, helping each other out.
That's all it is. I mean, this is one of the amazing things about the sport. So for you guys who are new to the sport, just go out there, ask questions. If you're not ready to go and shoot a match, that's fine. Just go there, watch, ask questions. Everybody will love to get you in a match and teach you, at least, guide you through what you need to do. There are many people, and we really love the sport, and we want more people who are responsible. We want everybody to be responsible, to be educated, and to know what they're doing. So the best thing to do that is asking questions, practice, go to the gun range, and get the right equipment. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for joining me today. I think like I said, this was a nice intro video for a lot of people who are getting into the sport. They don't know what to get, and you have been great resource. You're very knowledgeable, excellent shooter. You are a master.
Oh, goodness.
But anyway, thank you guys. Thank you everybody. Thank you for joining. And I'll see you next time. Remember, tomorrow I have Spanish Tuesday, so it's gonna be in Espanol. So see you next time, and until another video. Bye-bye.